Good morning, Tweed & Corduroy. How are you? Ready for another lesson? Thank you for all the lovely work you submitted yesterday. Your designs are outstanding. Great work. Before we move on to today's lesson, let's mark yesterday's work. Let's start on page 195. It says, figure A, B, C, and D are drawn on a 1 meter square paper grid. Can you calculate the perimeter of the different figures? So I have seen that you have used a felt tip or a coloring pencil to go around the shape as you counted the meters. So well done, that's really helpful. Now let's check. The perimeter of figure A is 14 meters. Okay, 14. Now the perimeter of figure B is 16 meters. The perimeter of figure C is 16 meters as well. The perimeter of figure D is 22 meters. Figure D has the longest perimeter. Figure A has the shortest perimeter. The perimeter of figure B is 0 meters longer than the perimeter of figure C, and that's because they have the same perimeter. And lastly, it says, on the grid below, draw a figure with the same perimeter as figure A. Remember, figure A had a perimeter of 14 meters. So all you had to do was to draw a figure with a perimeter of 14 meters. This is mine, but I've seen yours and you've come up with lots of different creative answers. So great work, Year 3. Part of today's lesson, we're also going to be calculating perimeter. We're going to start today's lesson by answering this question. In how many different ways can you calculate the perimeter of this square? My friend says that he can calculate it using 3 different methods. Do you agree with him? I'm going to ask you to pause the video and solve this problem. You need to find the perimeter of the square by using 3 different methods in order to show your answer. Remember, the sides of a square all have the same length. So pause the video, answer the question using 3 different methods, and then we'll check all together. Were you able to remember the methods that we learned yesterday? We're going to start by looking at method 1. We know that the perimeter is the length around a figure. So my friend found the length of each of the sides of the square, and then in order to find out the total length of the shape, all she did was some addition, and it looks like this. 20 meters plus 20 meters plus 20 meters plus 20 meters equals 80 meters. So she's worked out the length of each of the sides and then she has added them up together. So she knows that the perimeter of the square is 80 meters. Now we're going to look at method 2. Look at the picture here. What do you think my friend has done? Correct! My friend worked out the length of 2 of the sides. Then he looked carefully at the shape and knew that the other sides were going to be the same length. So he did 20 meters plus 20 meters equals 40 meters. So therefore, the total length of the shape will be 40 meters times 2. And it looks like this. The perimeter is 2 times 40 meters, or 40 meters times 2, and it equals 80 meters. The same as before, the perimeter of this square is 80 meters. Do you remember that there was a shortcut to finding the perimeter of some shapes? This is what we're going to look at in method 3. My friend thinks that all you need to know in order to find the perimeter of a square is the length of one of its sides. Do you agree with her? Why? Amazing, because we know the properties of a square. and we know that all the sides are the same length. So here she worked out the length of one side, and we can see it's 20 meters, and all she's done is as follows. She's done 20 meters times 4, because there are 4 sides that are 20 meters long. 20 meters times 4 equals 80 meters. So the perimeter of the shape of this square is 80 meters. Its total length is 80 meters. Were you able to use the 3 different methods that we've just looked at to calculate the perimeter of this shape? Great work, you're doing amazingly well. So we are just going to go through them once more before we move on to the next task. So method 1, we were doing just addition, and we did 20 meters plus 20 meters plus 20 meters plus 20 meters equals 80 meters. In method 2, we did addition and multiplication. So we added up the length of 2 of the sides, 20 meters plus 20 meters equals 40 meters, and then we did 40 meters times 2 equals 80 meters. So method 1, it was just addition, method 2, addition and multiplication. And method 3, we just did multiplication, because in this case we knew the properties of a square, we knew that all the sides were the same length, so we could just work out the length of one of the sides and do it times 4. So 20 meters times 4 is 80 meters. Did you come up with another method to find the perimeter of this shape? If you did, please feel free to upload it to your portfolios and share it with Miss Downing and with me. Now we are going to calculate the perimeter of this figure. It says, a rectangular carpet is used to cover the floor of the room. The carpet has a length of 19 meters and a width of 9 meters. What is the perimeter of the carpet? Remember, we've just looked at a square and we found out that we only needed the length of one side in order to find its perimeter, because we know that all the sides of a square are the same length. Does it happen the same when we look at a rectangle? Are all the sides the same length? No, you're right. We have 2 different lengths, and we know the parallel sides are exactly the same length. So we have 2 sides that are 19 meters long and 2 sides that are 8 meters long. So we could solve it using the first method, addition, doing 8 meters plus 19 meters plus 8 meters plus 19 meters equals 54 meters. So just adding, and then the perimeter of the carpet is 54 meters. We could also use the second method to solve it, addition and multiplication. And we could do 8 meters plus 19 meters equals 27 meters. 27 meters times 2 is 54 meters. Or if you prefer, you could do 8 times 2 and then 19 times 2 and add the results together, whatever way you find easier. Now, could we use the third method? Could we just use multiplication to solve it? Correct. We cannot just use multiplication because we have 2 different lengths. So we will have to work out first the total of the 2 lengths together and then times it by 2. Does that make sense? Great. So now, can you look for another rectangular object in the room? I'm going to ask you to measure the length of its sides and calculate its perimeter. So anything that is called a rectangular shape in your room. You could use method 1 to solve it, method 2, can you use method 3? Did you come up with another method? Pause the video and upload your findings to Class Dojo. We've come to the end of today's lesson, and I'm going to ask you to do pages 198, 200 and 201. You do not need to do the whole worksheet 7, 8 and 9, just pages 198, 200 and 201. So the first activity, page 198, you need to find the perimeter of these three objects. They have already started writing the method and the number sentence for you. So you need to complete it and write the perimeter of the object. In page 200, you need to complete activity 3. And it says, look around your classroom and measure the objects listed below. We know we are not in the classroom, so you can change what is it that you are measuring. Make sure you cross it out and write down the new item. You can still find the perimeter of the cover of your maths book, but you cannot do the top of Miss Downey's or my teacher table, so you could do instead the top of your dining table, anything you want to, but just make sure you cross it out and write down what is it that you are measuring. And to finish with, page 201, it says, Holly went to the zoo and saw fences around several plots of land where different animals were kept. Find the length of the fence surrounding each plot of land. So you can choose any method you want to find the perimeter of these different plots of land. If you can write down your working out so we can see how you solve it and what method do you prefer. Okay, have a go and upload today's work to Class Dojo, please, so we can have a look at how you've been doing. As always, there is a challenge to finish the lesson. Today's challenge is a bit tricky, but you're great mathematicians and I'm sure you will be able to solve it. It says, a rectangular piece of paper had a length of 24 centimeters and a width of 8 centimeters. A square with 5 centimeter sides was cut out from the piece of paper. What was the perimeter of the remaining piece of paper? So you need to find out the perimeter, not of the whole rectangle, just the green piece of paper. So you need to think carefully, what method are you going to use? There are lots of different ways to solve this problem, so whatever you think is easier, whatever comes to your mind, you might want to try 2 different methods and say, oh, you know, I did it this way, but then I found a shortcut. It's up to you. Make sure you upload your work out, how you worked it out, and the answer. Okay, you're superstars. Give it a go. Go, 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 go. Well done. Year 3. This was our last online maths lesson before half term. As tomorrow we will be recapping some of the contents that we have already learned in school. Please remember, you're all amazing and we're really proud of you. Have a lovely half term, you deserve it. See you soon. Bye!